Andretti's bid to enter Formula One has been met with stiff opposition from teams across the grid. It is part personal problem with Andretti's arrogance and part financial problem with the teams not wanting to give up any of their earnings. While the inclusion of an 11th team in the sport is still a bit of a battleground, there are other ways for Andretti to get on the grid, and Helmut Marko is pointing the way for the American team. How is Andretti's bid going? And where does Helmut Marko think he should go if he fails to secure an 11th berth in the pit lane? Why don't you stick around and find out? Existing teams on the grid have almost without exception spoken out against the notion of any additional entrants to the current Formula One grid of 10 teams and 20 cars. A variety of reasons and excuses have been given for why the exclusive club in the fast-growing world of Formula One should not allow any new members. Having been criticised by Andretti for failing to consider the bigger picture, Liberty Media's F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali appears prepared to wait and see the outcome of the FIA's application process, which was meant to end on the 30th of June. I would say let's wait and see. My no is not against someone wanting to come in. I need to clarify that because otherwise it seems that I want to be protectionist. That is not the case. I want to see the right one, and I need to also respect the ones that have invested in F1 in the last period, because we forget too quickly the respect. Having locked horns at the start of the year with Domenicali, F1 President Mohammed Ben Sulayem too appears to be open to consensus on any proposed new F1 entrant. He stated during the British Grand Prix, "We've been working with FOM and with Stefano Domenicali. That's very important to do due diligence, and they realise that the FIA is also one of the main partners in that. And we both agree that having a team or a new team, we cannot really force big teams to say yes or no. It's up to them." The FIA was set to announce the findings of their application process at the end of June, but due to the requirement for further information, this has been delayed. However, the signs are clear that Ben Sulayem is preparing the way for an announcement that is positive for Andretti, and maybe up to 2 other new teams, as the current Concord agreement allows for a maximum of 13 competitors in Formula One. When questioned in Silverstone by the Associated Press, the FIA president was crystal clear in his message. "People have to understand, we're here to promote motorsport, and we are here to be fair. The expression of interest process is very robust, and there's no circumstance where we can deny any teams if they fulfill the criteria to enter. So imagine me saying no to someone like GM. We have in the regulations that we can go up to 12 teams. I'm not breaking rules. But do we allow anyone to enter? No. But how on earth can we refuse GM? I mean, where's the common sense in this all? GM is a heavyweight, and when they come with Andretti, that's good for all of us." While the whole process has been hidden from us, the public, things have clearly been happening behind the scenes. The comments from Formula One management and the FIA were far from committal early in the season, when they were still accepting applications for new teams. Now though, the comments seem to say that Andretti has been accepted. Now it's just a matter of getting the 10 current teams, who have a say on any new teams, to accept an 11th team. Unfortunately, Andretti has not made many friends on the grid. He upset a number of senior paddock members last summer when he accused them of small-mindedness and only seeing their immediate self-interest. He also accused the commercial rights owners Liberty Media of giving too much power to the current F1 teams. It would be different with Bernie Ecclestone, he added. Liberty gives the teams too much say. Why Andretti would choose to use Bernie Ecclestone as an example of how Formula One should operate is beyond me. A man who has been charged with bribery, $650 million worth of fraud, who previously said Hitler was a man who could get things done, and that dismissed racist comments of Lewis Hamilton, stating they started as just a joke, is not the kind of person you want running a sport. At least not again anyway. It was a comment that was not well received by anybody. Since then, Michael has tried to change his tone, realizing that his American boisterous bluntness wasn't working, but the damage had already been done. And his dad still can't resist the urge to bite back at anybody that criticizes his team. Toto Wolff publicly criticized the Andretti outfit, suggesting they had no idea what it took to launch a successful Formula One team. But motor racing icon Mario Andretti called out the Mercedes boss for a lack of respect. Toto Wolff spoke very openly about our credibility, the 82-year-old said. "I find the public criticism very disrespectful, because we've been active in motorsport for much longer than he has. I respect his success so far, but he has no reason to look down on us," added Andretti. While the Andretti team continue to insist on making it harder for themselves to get a space on the grid as the 11th team, there is always another option for entry: buying a team. And there is one team at the moment that is in such a shambles that selling might actually be their best option. Alpine has been in the headlines a lot of late, most of the time for very wrong reasons. Actually, I can't remember reading anything positive about the team since Monaco. If there isn't someone losing their job, then the drivers are crashing or the engine is awful. With their engine's lack of performance said to be compromising their car's setup, Marko has suggested maybe Renault should go back to focusing on engines alone and sell the team to American hopeful Andretti. Andretti should buy the Alpine team, he told Sport 1 Germany. That would be best served for everyone. Formula 1 would keep its 10 teams, Andretti could finally get in, and Renault would still be involved. Toto Wolff seems to share Dr. Marko's opinion, stating before the British Grand Prix that anyone wishing to join the sport should buy a team. If only it were that simple. Michael Andretti claims he has exhaustively tried to follow Wolff and Marko's suggestion. He said, "We've been to every single team. They keep saying buy a team and nobody wants to sell." The most recent team to sell has been Sauber, although their future is more of a merger with Audi taking the majority stake as they prepare for their entry into Formula 1 in 2026. Forbes actually did a valuation of all the teams very recently, and it might be cheaper to set up a rival competition than to buy a team. The average value of a Formula 1 team has increased 276% since 2019 to $1.88 billion according to the study. Headlining the team values, Ferrari and Mercedes are estimated to be worth $3.9 billion and $3.8 billion respectively. This is underlined by both teams' estimated revenues for 2023 dwarfing the rest of the grid, with Mercedes expected to earn around $20 million more than Ferrari at $700 million. Red Bull, valued at $2.6 billion, and McLaren at $2.2 billion, are the other two teams valued at over $2 billion, with estimated 2023 revenues of $510 million and $490 million respectively. The team that Marko seemed to think might be for sale, Alpine, are valued at $1.4 billion, but Andretti would presumably have to pay way over that to actually take control of them. In 2021, Sauber declined an offer from Andretti Autosport for a majority stake worth $350 million. Just 15 months later, Audi invested $650 million for a stake that will eventually grow to 75%, almost doubling that initial offer. Furthermore, Forbes reported that Red Bull turned down an offer for AlphaTauri worth more than $1 billion, which presumably came from Andretti, which then matches up to his comments that he's tried to buy every team he can. So, there is good news for Andretti. It seems that he's made it through the application process to join the grid. The bad news is that he'll now have to convince the current grid that he's worthy of a space, though the backing of the FIA and FOM should help that. If that fails though, Alpine could be right for the taking, assuming their self-destruction continues to spiral out of control. Do you think Andretti will get his own team on the grid, or should he buy Alpine like Wolff and Marko have suggested? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.